Welcome back to the Warehouse Podcast. My name is Jesse. Before we get into this exciting episode, Bet Online is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. Bet Online has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. Think you know your stuff. Get in on our $200,000 mega contest and pick five games against the spread every week for your chance at weekly prizes and a share of the $200,000. When the game's over, head on over to the online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with over 150 slot games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Bet online. The game starts here. All right. So the Orioles have history, a really, really exciting moment the other day. Just, you know, it was overall a dreadful game against the White Sox. I'm recording a couple days after that. So during a pretty bad game against the White Sox, where the Orioles have sort of maintained this ability for a while to not win or to not sweep series. Also, they haven't really been swept, so they're sort of splitting every series. But even against the White Sox, which are the worst team in baseball right now, the Orioles weren't able to win. But in that game, we had really, really exciting event happen when Gunnar Henderson hit his 35th home run of the season, which broke the Orioles franchise record, passing both Cal Ripken and Miguel Tejada, who were tied at 34. Now, on Friday's game against the Rays, he tacked on another home run, actually a pretty big home run in that game to make it 36. So he now leads with still a chunk of the season left to go. The Orioles franchise record for most home runs by a shortstop with 36 home runs. Now he has, I would say, he has a chance, and definitely if he gets hot, he definitely has a chance to hit 40 home runs this year. Now Tyler has observed 40 is just a nice round number. That's really the main significance of it. But it looks nice. So he has probably an outside chance. He'd have to hit four more in around 20 games, maybe less at this point. I didn't check, but somewhere right around 20 games. So he'd have to, yeah, put a little bit of a streak together in order to do that. But he's certainly capable. He's had stretches this season where he's done that before. So it's definitely not impossible. But I also would bet that well, again, I don't bet, but I would predict that he has, less than a half chance. You know, I don't have an exact number, but he maybe has a 20 or 30% chance of hitting 40 home runs. But that's not what's significant. What's significant is that he has broken the Orioles franchise record, and we have a new leader at the shortstop position for Oriole home runs. So um, I think it's pretty obvious, needless to say, he's had a tremendous season this year. And he is a very, very young player, and hopefully we have more Gunnar Henderson seasons like this in an Orioles uniform. Uh, but it is really noteworthy that we just sort of so he's done it for the Orioles, but just taking a step back and thinking about where he is overall and all time. Right now he is in 20th place, I guess, is the ideal way to say this, tied with Alex Rodriguez's 1996 season for the Seattle Mariners, where he also hit 36 home runs as a shortstop. So he's basically tied for, well, I guess that would technically put him at 21st, technically at this point. Um, I guess if you're tied, you give them the lower number. Anyway, I don't really know. But yeah, he's 20th or tied for 20th or tied for 21st for the most home runs in a single season by a shortstop ever in Major League Baseball. And so even beyond the Orioles, like that is a pretty amazing stat and a pretty amazing figure to look at. And if you look at this list, um many people are repeat players, so multiple of these guys have had multiple seasons where they've done the same thing. Alex Rodriguez hit 57, he also hit 52, and he hit 47. So Alex Rodriguez holds the top three slots for this category, and then Ernie Banks has the next four slots. And then, Fernando Tatis and a few other guys, even Gleyber Torres, Lindor is on this list, and of course Manny Machado. Yeah, so basically, he's having a really historic season. Like for the Orioles, but also even more broadly, like for Major League Baseball too. Um, so he's really putting up a historic season. And by the end of this season, he has a chance to, he's likely to at least hit 37 home runs, which would elevate him even higher up the ladder. If he hits two more home runs, he's going to be in at least, 15th place. So, the 20 number is not accounting for it not really being the end of the season. He still, even on that list that I just mentioned, has even a ways to go up the list and up the ladder. So, um, yeah, but overall, still, needless to say, it's been an incredible season for Gunnar Henderson. Gunnar Henderson, now, I will say, I think, maybe within the next 10 years or so, this list might shake up a little bit and we might get some new contenders on this list. You think about some of the premier shortstops in Major League Baseball. You think about Francisco Lindor, whether he is going to surpass his 38 home runs, I don't know about that. But you think about guys that are coming into the league in similar situations to Henderson. I think, my mind goes to Bobby Witt Jr., and where he might end up eventually on this list. So there's a lot of potential for this to be shaken up over the next few years. uh I think Gunnar Henderson, and a lot of these young, really talented shortstops are a bit of a reflection of how Major League Baseball is changing. Gunnar Henderson being a reflection of how Major League Baseball is changing. You used to think about the shortstop as like someone like Andrelton Simmons, right, who was a very good contact hitter, but played stellar defense. Got his, but really like built his accolades through his defense, despite being a decent and a solid hitter for many points of his career. But he was never a power hitter, and shortstop has always been historically sort of like a power deficient position. Even if you think about through the steroid era, I mean, Alex Rodriguez, notably on this list, has obvious connections to steroid use. But even through like the steroid era, right? Alex Rodriguez, and then Tatis also has a connection to steroid use. Had a massive suspension as well from it. So basically, like when we're thinking about that, right? Uh yeah, when we're thinking about Gunnar Henderson's place sort of on this list, this is like even in the context of having sort of gone through and hopefully we've come out of, even though that's probably not entirely true. I'm sure steroid use is still happening. It is happening. It's just a question of to what extent, etc. But um, yeah, basically, when we're thinking about this list, Gunnar Henderson is 20th on this list, and that includes having gone through the steroid era. That includes Alex Rodriguez dominating this list. So but just what I was saying is that this is Gunnar Henderson is sort of a reflection about how the game of baseball is changing and how shortstop is increasingly becoming a position where teams are expecting a power hitter out of. Traditionally, in the steroid era, you think about the power hitters, first baseman, third baseman, or like a corner outfielder potentially, right? But that's just not true anymore, and that's not how it is at this point in Major League Baseball. And you think about all the power hitters that are, you know, playing shortstop at this point in their career, or the guys that have potential for power, right? I mentioned Bobby Wood Jr., but there's also O'Neill Cruz did just make a transition to center field. That's who knows if that's going to be permanent or not, but he was coming up as a shortstop. There's Ellie De La Cruz. We have Francisco Lindor. Manny Machado, of course, for the Orioles was he played third base too, but has played shortstop. So it's really become sort of a premier power position and something that guys and Major League Baseball teams are now sort of expecting the shortstop to hit for power. And the days of a guy hitting 5 or 10 home runs from the shortstop position, but playing excellent defense are sort of over at this point. So it's just kind of how Gunnar Henderson is a bit of a reflection of how Major League Baseball has changed. And then the other, I meant to say Fernando Tatis Jr. too, obviously. Now he's not playing shortstop at the moment either, but has played there in the past and was talented. So but yeah, so Gunnar Henderson is sort of in this new crop of baseball players that are coming up and that are really influencing and changing the shortstop position in Major League Baseball. Now, where is this necessarily in context for the where does Gunnar Henderson uh where does his career, I guess, take him moving forward? Can this be a routine thing? Is he going to hit for 40 home runs for a few seasons for the Orioles while he's with us? Is he going to sort of revert back to hitting home runs somewhere in between well, not even revert back to, this is his third year at all in Major League Baseball, so I shouldn't say it like that. But is he going to, yeah, I like, is he going to be playing? Is he going to be more of a 25 to 33 home run guy? Or, will he be hitting 40 on a routine, before he hits free agency? Is he going to have a couple seasons where he hits 40 home runs and we could sort of expect him to hit, in between 28 and 35 every other year that he doesn't hit 40? It's a little bit of a question mark. Tyler did suggest the possibility a few podcasts ago. Maybe this is Gunnar Henderson's best season, and maybe that's why the Orioles should feel a little bit of pressure to win a World Series this year and capitalize on the amazingness that Gunnar Henderson has brought to the Orioles this year. I don't think that he's going to. I would not at all, even if he does not hit 40 home runs this year. My prediction would be at some point during his career for the Orioles, he will hit 40 home runs. He has so much power, but that is not really a given that he'll ever get back to this point. We do have to remember that going to the All-Star break, he was on an insane tear when he was at like 27 home runs or something at the All-Star break. He had cooled off for a long time. He's actually getting to this number relatively late, relative to when you would have thought he would have got there at the All-Star break. But basically all that to say that he is nothing is guaranteed. We have no idea how injuries are going to affect his career, but if he stays healthy, I definitely could see him being a guy that routinely hits 30 home runs a year, around that. And I think that's pretty much kind of, I think the expectation that the Orioles are hoping for him, moving forward, that he's at least going to be a 30 home run guy most years, and then has the potential to maybe go off a couple years, and really go even higher than that, right? So there's still a lot at the major league level that, he can still be learning and still be improving on. I mean, he has a 911 OPS at this point in the season. He's at 8.2 WAR, which is incredible. But that is to say that, even though he can still be developing and making adjustments, and things like that, and learning from the league, and maybe trying to, I mean, it's has seemed this year, and he's commented on this, that there's been like potentially a fatigue factor that's influenced him. And if you're looking at his hitting, it feels very reasonable. So maybe, the Orioles try to find a way to get him the proper rest, throughout the course of the year, where he can be fully fresh and sort of put up a more consistent year. Now, I think partly he is just somewhat streaky. Like, I think he's going to be one of those guys that gets really, really hot and then has a month or two cool period where he just isn't really hitting, which is fine. Uh, Ultimately, potentially a major league manager would want, ideally, like the numbers to be like sort of spread out more evenly dispersed over the course of a year. If Gunnar Henderson is slumping for a month, maybe that just means the Orioles might be slumping offensively for a month. As Henderson goes, the Orioles may go, right? That's possible, like especially moving forward in the future years. So potentially, like, but overall, uh, if you're cool, for a month, that means that to compensate for that, you're going to be really, really hot and tearing the cover off the ball, in those other months. So, I think it is a bit of a question mark. So Gunnar Henderson, it's very possible, may never hit 36 home runs again. We really have no idea. But he is young enough and he is talented enough, I think, that he has this potential that this is not going to be a one and done season, in terms of the home run count. Obviously, if he hits 25 home runs, he's certainly not going to be a useless player for the Orioles. He is going to be doing everything else on the base paths, defensively, still hitting doubles and other extra base hits, right? So I guess the only other extra base hit other than a double and a home run is a triple, but you know what I'm saying? So yeah, he's still going to be a very, very productive player for the Orioles for hopefully a long time if he stays healthy, even if he never hits this number of home runs again. But I definitely think that he has this possibility, in him. I think, most people who are watching can understand that how talented he is. The ball just jumps off his bat. The one other reason for a little bit of concern potentially, and thinking about him hitting this number of home runs again, is just the fact that, he hits. Now, I'm thinking about it as a concern, but that's not necessarily a universal interpretation. But he hits a disproportionate number of his home runs on non-fastballs, right? So, especially relative to the rest of the league. So, most, you know, it feels a lot of the time like, most hitters in Major League Baseball, especially traditionally, when you hear a guy said, "Oh, he's a fastball hitter," right? If you can't hit a fastball in Major League Baseball, you're probably not going to be a Major League Baseball player. So, to some extent, it feels like almost every Major League hitter is going to be a fastball hitter. But, Gunnar Henderson, relatively, is not really a fastball hitter. He really preys upon off speed breaking balls. So, in that sense, when thinking about this, how is that a little bit of a cause for concern when thinking about his ability to replicate this in future years? Now, is there something that scouting reports are going to be able to figure out that, okay, like, yes, we're gonna, potentially target him with fastballs, but can we change our breaking stuff? Can we change our off speed stuff in a way where we're gonna limit the damage that he sort of does, right? So that stuff probably already exists. There are analysts that are already thinking about this kind of stuff, but the fact that fastballs are the most common pitches most of the time that Major League Baseball hitters see, so more than any other pitch. So how does that, if that's the main diet of pitches that you're seeing as a hitter, it sort of leaves a smaller segment of the opportunities for you to hit home runs on if you're going to continue to be uh attempting to swing and hit home runs at a smaller percentage of the overall pitches. Now obviously he hits fastballs on the home runs on fastballs as well, but as an overall trend, maybe that's a little bit of a cause for question as to whether he's going to be able to repeat this year after year. So we'll see. There are going to be a lot of adjustments that uh are going to continue to evolve. He's going to make adjustments since he's such a young player. And there are going to be adjustments in the league to him, based upon, this chess game that hitters and pitchers are going to be playing with each other. So, but overall, it's really, really outstanding. I think that it's really important for Oriole fans not to diminish the moment or to not appreciate what we've been seeing from him this year, especially Gunnar Henderson pre All-Star break was just something phenomenal and spectacular, and something that we really, really are not used to and expected. Well, as Oriole fans, we have not seen it just simply like that. So, yeah, so at least from another Oriole. So, this has been a really, really special year for Gunnar Henderson. This was a really, really special moment when he broke this record. And I think it's definitely well earned because, I mean, I'm assuming he works hard as a baseball player, but he's also extremely, extremely talented. And it makes sense that, and it's sort of nice that he's done this so early in his career, and hopefully it can put him. I mean, he's already made the All-Star game. He's already on the national radar. Don't get me wrong, but he is going to sort of continue to accelerate and become recognized throughout the league and throughout uh, Major League Baseball for his talent, skills, and abilities. And this is another example of that. And yeah, hopefully he's going to have a great career, and hopefully he's going to have a great career as an Oriole. So just more really, really exciting stuff to look forward to. The Orioles, we're probably going to have more things come out like this because we have so much young talent. It's very possible that in the next couple of years, we're getting back on here and we're doing an episode very similar to this about how Gunnar Henderson has broken his own record atop the Orioles list for franchise record home runs. So we will wait and see. But yeah, no, we love Gunnar Henderson. He's fantastic. He's amazing. The offense is one thing, of course, but we also see him play spectacular defense that we all love. And he's just a very well-rounded, yeah, he's a five-tool player. So he's great. So yeah, hopefully more amazing things to come. This is really a Gunnar Henderson appreciation episode in addition to a Gunnar Henderson uh in addition to a Gunnar Henderson history acknowledgement episode. So, really excited about that. And really excited for him and really excited for him moving forward and for the Orioles. Yeah, the rest of the year, hopefully, it'd be cool if he could hit that round number and hit 40. We're still, unfortunately, waiting on Anthony Santander to hit his 40th home run, which, maybe we'll have an episode like this and come on and celebrate as well. But he hasn't done that yet. So we're still waiting on that. So in any case, yeah. Thank you all for listening to the episode. Please follow the show, give us a 5-star rating, review. We have a YouTube channel, so subscribe to us over on YouTube, like this video, comment with any thoughts, analysis, disagreements that you have. I don't expect anybody at this point to be coming into the comments and saying, "No, I really think you're overstating how good a shortstop and how good a player Gunnar Henderson is." I don't expect that, but if you feel that way, feel free to comment. If you want to get in touch with the show, you can email us at thewarehousepod@gmail.com. Feel free to follow us on Instagram, but mainly on Twitter at the Warehouse Pod. And with that, thank you to the sponsor of this episode. This has been the Warehouse Podcast. My name is Jesse, and go O's.